initial thing is, first of all, why? Why take on a task like this? Because as a Democrat, it's tough.
Yes, Jack, it's definitely tough. I'm taking on this issue because South Dakota deserves the best representative to look out for everyone's interests, regardless of party.
Okay. And when you talk about looking at the interests, what are we missing now? Uh,
Well, definitely in Congress, what we're missing is men and women coming together and working through a lot of major issues that are facing our nation. And especially here in South Dakota, we need to make sure that we have a strong voice, someone who will battle it out and make sure that our priorities stay on the radar and really get things done that will benefit us back home.
okay. Now that's all well and good. I mean, it's a very nice, admirable thing. If you took the D out of your name and put an R next to it, it's the same message we get from the other side too.
Why, Corinna?
Why? Yes.
Well, Jack, I spent 25 years in the military right out of high school. I graduated right here at Rapid City Central. And what I did during my military career, especially when I was deployed in Iraq and supporting operations in Afghanistan, we're forced to come together with multiple stakeholders, foreign officials, other branches of the service, and the mission is paramount. And so even when I retired from the military in 2009 and I was working at the Pentagon and went back to Iraq for the second time as a director for legislative affairs, again, working together, letting your guard down, finding compromise, and knowing that, lives are at stake. It's very, very important for me to be conscious of looking out for folks' interests. And so coming to South Dakota was a long-term plan for me. And raising 3 sons, putting them through college, and pivoting to make sure that I did this wisely. It's not about the title, it's not about the money, it's really making sure that Corinna will be trusted to get the job done.
All right, I'm going to be blunt again, and that is, what's the difference between you and Kristi Noem?
I believe what people will see in Corinna is that she is fearless, that she will come to the table and not just be participative in the conversations, but I will bring folks together. I'm very passionate about let's get it out, let's talk, let's find common ground, let's get the policies drafted or the money resourced, and let's make a decision and get it done.
Where do you think you could get the common ground at? Things like immigration, things like health care, even wages. Everyone knows things need to be done, but there's just something, and I can't grasp it. Well, I probably could, but I don't want to say it. And that is, we just can't seem to get it. What are some of those issues for you?
Well,
where you can get the common ground?
Well, because you have to be at the majority, if not all, of the committee meetings. You have to spend a lot of time in Washington. Sometimes you can't get things done in a room, but you might have to go out for a cup of coffee or go to church or go to a bar for a beer, and you just talk about things and let your guard down and know in your heart, you're a representative of the people at home, and you have to just somehow find that common ground. And I know it's hard. It's hard when you have special interest groups. It's hard when you have lobbyists. It's hard when you have these huge corporations that will front you millions of dollars of money to do what's in their best interest, to help you with your campaign financing. But at the end of the day, if you can't take care of people back home, that's what we pay you for.
But what are some of those things? I mean, do you think you could work something on immigration? Do you think you can tweak Obamacare, the Affordable Health Care Act, or is it one of these things where bottom line is going to have to be jettisoned because people just can't stand it?
There are decisions that may not be so strategic, but they affect people back home. For example, I would have not voted to take $40 billion away from the food stamp program. I certainly wouldn't have voted to shut down the government, and perhaps 25% of our governmental spending, because that has a grave effect on people's livelihood. And you know, it was really sad when we went through the blizzard last year, and we couldn't call those offices that we needed immediate assistance from. But those are some of the decisions that were made by Representative Noem, and I hope that people respect that Corinna would make those same decisions, because they have such a grave effect on South Dakota. So all I can say is we released a very favorable poll recently that showed Representative is vulnerable because of her voting record, because of her performance. And my challenge is just to get my name out there. And I'm doing quite a bit of travel and fundraising, so I can afford those nice fancy TV ads at the end to get my message out.
All right, now you did mention some of the things that you would not have done, the food stamps, the shutting down the government. Where specifically, and I just got to nail you down on this one, where specifically could you find common ground with, say, was predominant, it is going to be a Republican-controlled House still, more than likely. The figures are there. If you are elected, where can you find common ground on a Republican-controlled House?
I believe the minimum wage is a perfect example. I personally hand carried that petition myself. We need to give people a better means of taking care of their families, especially our college students, our high school students are struggling to pay off college loans. I certainly will try very hard to take care of our veterans, you know, watching what's going on in Hot Springs with the VA facility to make sure their pensions are never at risk. And I also care very much about, you know, promoting economic development in South Dakota, you know, bringing in major industry, even if foreign nations come and help, to give stability to South Dakota. I also very much care about education, you know, attending the Staying Strong breakfast that they had, that there's so many business leaders here in Rapid City that want to take care of our youth in early development programs with regard to education. Girls Inc. is another great one. And we just need to do a better job at taking care of South Dakotans, what is important to us. And I know that's hard as a member of Congress because you also sit on committees that take care of national agendas and issues. So it's just, Corinna is somebody who is used to prioritization. I look at all aspects of the challenge, you know, resourcing, money, time, assets, and I can do this.
How do you reach out to somebody who just adamantly can't even stand his own party?
You know, we all have to remember, and I know it sounds very idealistic, but our founding fathers, you know, came together. They created this nation so everyone would have a voice. I've been in so many countries where there's not even a government in place because of lack of stability, that women didn't have the privilege to vote or get health care. Those are the kind of stories that I will tell. Be grateful that you're an American, and everybody needs to pay attention to the issues because there's so much at stake right now, and especially our younger kids. If they really want to flourish and make sure we're a strong America, pay attention now. And those good old barbecues, I mean, I'm definitely doing a grassroots effort. I don't mind sitting in the truck stops or the VFW and let them know, you know, this is somebody who really cares. I love South Dakota. And I'm so proud for the 25 years I was in service to hand carry that South Dakota driver's license and wave that American flag.
If you do get to Washington, getting something accomplished so in 2 years you can come back and say, hey, I'm worth another 2. How do you do that?
You have to prioritize. You have to know that of the hundreds of bills that are on the floor that will or will not make it past Appropriations Committee, that you have to, every given day, know you've got to do your very best. But you can't do everything well. You have to establish those priorities and find out what's winnable. But it is a daily endeavor. I mean, it's 6.5 days I see myself working when I'm a member of Congress. I'll take Sunday mornings off for church and to spend time with family, but it takes that kind of work ethic.
Okay. But then again, if you're in Washington all the time, people here will start saying, oh, you're out of touch.
I won't be, because when I'm home on recess, I will be at town halls. I will be out in the community. I will tell them how difficult it is to get things done.